tried, there is no way for us to influence the game. It's a black box that's guarded by an entire military's worth. But hey, look at that.
Here we go.
We're into the game. We're into the round.
Here we go once more. And as much as we said we can't repeat the playing path, it's pretty close, except it's coming in from the other direction.
Yeah, but the trajectory is the same.
Yeah.
North and south this time, but the trajectory is the same. And FaZe, once again, are going towards Darky, which is actually a much better drop this time around because of how early they can get out of this.
True.
But then it's Petrichor Road.
Yeah.
That's the question. Do they ice themselves?
They're still in the plane.
I think they're still in the plane. Okay. Nothing's changing. It's just who gets to drop out first. Everything else is the same. And 17 get all 4 of their members in the center of the map. So already going better for them than the last run.
Imagine Twisted Minds only jumping 1 out of the plane early and they're just leaving the other 3 in to see, are they actually with us? No, they're not. Okay, we stay in and we hunt them down. I would have liked to see that, just because, you know what, in these sort of situations where you're already in, I'm not usually a big fan of hot drops, but in these situations where you have literally nothing to lose and so much to gain by taking out a team like Petrichor, if you're Twisted Minds, I say worth.
You work in the wrong region if that's what you want to see.
That's not entirely true.
That is a big NA play. I have so much of European.
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of how much they actually do those plays, that is true. It is a little more rare than I would like it to be.
They're getting more and more American by the day.
It's I guess it's smearing all working with you. Circle, southwest we go. I like the shot coming through.
Ooh, okay.
Not connected though, but this one, I mean, for Petrichor, they couldn't really wish for it any better. They're flying far southwest, still in their parachutes, some of them down towards Quarry they go, and the Circle have just been gifted to them. Now, having said that, just because it's a southwest shift does not mean that when you loot Quarry you get a win, because this one can still swing in a multitude of directions, and all of a sudden what was prime real estate phase 1 can be who gives a crap position in phase 2.
Yeah, we can see a phase 2 hard shift all the way to the northeast, and it's been a while since we've seen a field finish on Erangel.
We have been Quarry more than we have been North. That is true, and you know what? I'm not necessarily against it.
Yeah, I usually hate field finishes.
It's almost as if
you haven't had one. I miss it. You don't know you're missing.
Do you? I mean, you miss it until you get it.
Until I get it, then I'm gonna.
Then you realize why you didn't miss it for so long.
We've had a ETH Severny finish multiple times, so
true.
You know, anything's better than that. Anything is better than that.
Well, Purple Mood, yet another team who desperately needs points, and again, I mean, I feel like I've said this the entire tournament so far. I want to see Purple Mood more aggressive. Now, I desperately want to see them more aggressive, because if they do not come out here with arguably probably their best game ever, they won't qualify for Grand Finals.
You want to see Purple Mood more aggressive? How much more aggressive can you get? They've been avoiding placement points because they're so aggressive.
Well, I mean, they've been avoiding placement points because they wrap around teams, try to play edge, and then they get killed on edge because they keep wrapping.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying they do it well, but they certainly play for early game fights, or at least mid-game ones.
We'll get into them if they qualify. If not, then we'll leave it there. Because that's a long discussion that I don't think is worthy of the game we're about to see unfold.
No. 17 right now. Good spot to qualify. Currently sitting in 5th place, so we're not really worried about them. Again, we're really just worried about Ascend mostly, and perhaps a little bit of Third Eye, and then FaZe Clan and Petrichor Road. Until another team below them starts to have a really, really hot game, like even Pentagram could, or New Happy, we're just going to focus on those 4, and none of those 4 outside of Petrichor Road are already in this this phase. So if there's any game that Pero need to show up, it's here.
It is a little exciting that we don't get to see the leaderboard right now, because I am not like
mega. There hasn't been a single kill.
I know, but I'm not mega brain enough to remember the exact numbers of all the teams on the cusp right now. So it's gonna be interesting to see if maybe they just keep it off for the entire game. We'll have to just guess alongside the players, because to be honest, the players don't know either. They're trying to see if they can math it out, but for the most part, when we come to these final games, like everyone just want the best game they possibly can get in the final one.
It's like they heard you and said, okay, well, you don't have to be so passive aggressive about it. Here's your leaderboard.
I mean, if it works, it works, and it worked.
Not right now. I was wondering if New Happy would want to gatekeep that West Sosnovka bridge, since they loot around Ferry Pier and the 6-packs, the ice box that some people call it, because, you know, that's where 6-packs are. But no, it looks like they're going to be pulling away. They don't want to try and camp early on because of how risky that could be. If you don't get the points there, then you're already on the back foot in your rotation. So they're going to try and set up and then maybe not camp or rotate, but definitely punish or rotate that swings past them, because that Forest of Death that they're in has some good angles on that southern road.
Definitely. Now, we talked about how solos can sometimes salvage a couple of extra points in a game whenever their teammates die. We saw Gustav try to do it last game, didn't really succeed. Xiao Bei, though, able to get, I believe, 6 placement points. 3 kills with it as well. Those 9 points is what has them set where they are right now. In the meantime, though, New Happy, well aware of the pentagram rotation coming through.
Am I a seer? Am I Nostradamus? Because this is exactly what I said that New Happy looked like they would be doing. Angles onto Pentagram, already getting 1 and good amount of damage. And now, of course, whatever they couldn't get, Petrichor Road have even more weakened targets in front of them. They're not able to collect anymore, though. Pentagram still have 3. But man, for a team that needs to have an amazing game to be in 8th place, this is not the start they wanted.
Nope. It's and for the 2 teams that are currently sat there in Petrichor and New Happy, exactly the game that they would have wanted. Get a free point at least for 17, or for New Happy, I mean. That is a great way to start this final match of the winner's bracket. Loser's bracket. I can't brain more. I'm sorry.
One of the brackets. It's a bracket.
The brackets.
Yeah. GEX now following up where Pentagram rotated through. New Happy might have another angle onto them. That looks like GEX is going to be a little more on the low ground because New Happy actually aren't holding those hills. They're holding the compound that we've seen be a strong compound towards the late game. So angles not on GEX. We'll see if they run into Pentagram. And now FaZe rotating in all the way from Zarky.
Yeah, they're very, very split. And I think they're playing this split, not expecting EXO to still be in the position they're in. But let's hold that thought for a second. As Pentagram, while they lost 1 just before, are currently looking to see if they can find one of their own. GEX wrapping south around again. A team who needs a really good game here in order to qualify. Cannot afford taking casualties early on.
SDK now pushing in from the north. Hitting the swamps-ish area. Should be okay. It's a little separated from the rest of the map, so mostly just playing for a shift west. If not, they're going to have to bound through the hills if they want to go towards east. That's assuming that they stop where we last spotted them. EXO now rotating through. They're not going to be holding off FaZe, though. I think their vehicle sounds did alert FaZe to their presence, so FaZe had to hold for a second. But all these teams coming in from the north, I don't imagine that they're going to be going for early fights.
Oh no, wouldn't expect that at all. But then again, I mean, for EXO, they know in order to qualify, we need at least, not even at least, we need a really good double-digit win.
They need to
really
beat
good
FaZe's
double-digit win. They're currently sat, I think, waiting for FaZe to cross that bridge.
Maybe.
What better to bridge camp the bridge campers? That would be a way to go down for FaZe Clan, a team that always tries to set up shop on bridges when given the chance to.
That's true. That's fair. Gen G rotating in. They're actually not the last team to arrive. It's third eye behind them because they had to go to a Stalwart Kamesh. Why can't I pronounce that word? Kameshki. Because of that plane path. And so they're coming on in, but everyone is ahead of the blue, even Purple Mood, who are not just taking the boat, they're putting vehicles on the boat.
They're putting 4 boats on the boat.
Wow.
Wow. I've been waiting for an opportunity to do something with boats, with ball boats, since the first day of the tournament. Thank you, ball boats.
Even hiding the tires, I love it.
Especially if you don't make it further than here. The fact that you gave it to me in your last game, I am so happy.
They should be ahead of the boat. They might take a little bit of damage while
they'll be all right.
The boat takes its...
No one's fair here, so it'll be good.
Yeah, it should be okay. It's not nothing. It's nothing that they couldn't heal through. Ghibli now taking actually Georgia Pole Mountain ahead of FaZe and EXO, who, EXO, they look to be pretty delayed. They wanted to use FaZe as the first stepping stone for a fantastic final game. A couple of shots coming on in. Empty and Kang, they're going to try and stop onto this one. Fex and Kirexi pulling away, and I think that's a couple of tires already popped, but the FaZe vehicles keep on trucking, and even James is going to stop a little early. Even Gustav's going to stop a little early to get some return fire because they could use the points as well.
And look at who's shooting from up above. It's Ghibli, a team with literally nothing to lose, just trying to be a nuisance to all of these teams rotating on through. Headshot comes through, and again it's Tosi from all the way up on the mountains, able to find Gustav. It's going to force FaZe to rotate.
Oh, James. Caught out a little bit of nothing, but he gets the spray down to Hikerman. I believe that was a drive-by. And now Hike is in a rough spot, but Akita is there. Of course, Akita is there. Now. The Mini 14 monster himself. And Kane gets another spray down. Fex is now dropped. Frag grenade comes out. This could be it for FaZe. Kirexi standing out in the open takes a lot of damage.
FaZe needs so many points in this game, and once again, as we saw in the previous one, this just ain't the way to start it. Kirexi down. FaZe in shambles as Gustav is now the only player left on his feet.
And the only team that's in the best position to capitalize on this is already in second place. Grenade is going to come out from Gustav. Needs to have something huge, but it bounces too far. The revive is being stuck. That second grenade might do a lot better work. It lands in a better spot, and it does confirm Heikman. It re-knocks Kang, I believe. And Akita's still there up on the high ground, but the blue is pushing on in, and Ghibli are surrounding.
The snakes are now, the sharks are now in the water as they're looking to see what they can find. They're taking points away from EXO as well. Ghibli want to show the world that they're not just here to qualify, they're here to deny entry for multiple other teams. Now, Akita does fall, but believe you me, they've done exactly the damage they were looking for. Gustav needs to somehow find around 10 points as a solo player in order to qualify.
Ascend and Twisted Head, Third Eye are two teams that are also battling for a position in the top 8. They're just trying to hold on, these two. And the circle, we saw it a few seconds ago, it was a hard shift towards the northeast. FaZe Clan are eliminated. FaZe Clan are eliminated. They are not going to the grand finals, falling out just short in 9th.
Set in 9th, 6 points behind Ascend, who currently are trying to stay alive themselves. Braxco here stays put for now. Ooh, that vehicle knock onto Richie might be the knock of him, depending on the nade. Nope, not gonna find any damage there.
Good spray from Brex. The Third Eye, they're surviving. They saw FaZe go out in the kill feed, so a little bit of pressure is going to be alleviated for both of these teams, but Petrichor Road is still a threat, and New Happy, Pentagram also still threats, but it's Chris going to be swinging on in. Trying to confirm Richie B. The rest of Third Eye has already left. Vox and Old List, the last two up, running behind, trying to find something to hold on to, and these two individual shacks could work. It's close enough to the center, but they're going to have to snake this one out, rat this one out for quite a while if they want to start collecting points.
Just thinking back of that fight with EXO and FaZe, if there were two teams that were not, like neither of those teams looking for that fight at all, it was them too. But once the first knock came through onto Gustav on the hills from up above, they had to commit to it. So unlucky for both teams that they end up in that situation. Both teams now, I mean, with FaZe out already and EXO so low with just one player, there should be no way for them to qualify.
GEX hold on to this compound. SDK tried to swing by and try and feel it out, but they're going to be taking a lot of damage. Penta does get knocked in. Vegas so close to getting knocked. He's going to get away just barely. Penta does get confirmed. SDK, at least they got information, but I don't think losing Penta was worth it.
Nah, but GEX as well here. They need really good points, so one freebie off of this one. No casualties taken for them. That is exactly how they want to kick off this game. But still, of course, far from qualifying through, only currently sat in 12th, tied with New Happy at 47.
Ghibli let Akita go. Realized, you know what? This is just getting cruel at this point. So they're going to try and get into the zone, wrapping around that west side and coming in late. Genji as well, just slowly pushing on in. This is, wait, that was just PO. That wasn't even Genji, that was just PO. The lone...
He's doing pure things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, but you know what? Yeah, it's done good work for Genji in the past. I'm not going to judge it just yet.
Nope. It's just pure things.
Yeah, opposite. Here's the rest of Genji on the opposite side of the map.
It's like with Coriander. Either you love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
No one just kind of likes Coriander. It's either one or the other. Same thing with PO doing PO things.
It's true. It is very true. Purple Mood right now. They have landed at Ferry Pier. Unsure if they're going to have any vehicles, but a few seconds away from Phase 3. Unsure if they're really going to need them, as we could continue to go east or north towards the fields, or we can swing back down towards the coast, towards Llama Hill. Where is it going to go? It's going to center up dead center.
You said you hadn't had a field ending in a while. The game hurt you, and that is potentially where we are taking this game. 17 sat well in it, and now, kills coming on to Ascend as Braxco falls to Third Eye.
Vox is getting some revenge, but we're looking at Petrichor Road on the rotate because they need to have a good game here, and actually taking this hill early could be the opportunity to get that. They're just above New Happy, who also are looking for kills, but I think Petrichor Road on the hilltop is going to have a better chance at that, as they can just run around, and as long as they land their shots, they can pick up a good number of points.
Issue is the angle into the field isn't necessarily the best, despite the high ground. Let's see now as Chris tries to wrap on through. He falls down again. Ascend is the team on the cusp right now at 67. Petrichor would need to find 15 points in this match in order to overtake, and there they fall. Ascent out in 15th, currently the 8th place team.
Currently 8th place, but that is the line set. Petrichor Road, New Happy, GEX now with a point, and Pentagram, though those final 3 teams have to have a much bigger game, but that is the line set. 67 points. Can you best it? Can you beat it? 1 round left.
I'm worried for Ascent. I'm worried for one reason. The win in PEC, they were taken out, just 1 kill out, lost by 1 point. Qualification from group stage to winners, they lost to Howl by 1 point. If this curse is to be broken for you, Ascent, I hope for you that it is going to be right here. As you say, 67 right now, that is the cutoff.
GEX looking west, looking at Ghibli, who they heard arrive. Ghibli had a late arrival, so unsure how much information they're going to have in this approach, but Heaven now already sneaking in on the south side. I imagine they know, or at least expected there was a compound, or at least a team in this compound. Saber has already moved out, but Heaven is going to continue to try and find a flanking position. The question is, does he get too close to Purple Moon? It's not even Purple Moon, it's actually Xenon on the far east angle and Savior on the north. This is a really good crossroad that GEX have on the beach, but the problem is it is way too late, and of course, Xenon taken down and going to be confirmed.
GEX needing so many points this game. The loss of Xenon is huge to them in this match here. Down to 3 is GEX.
No,
Wicked found as well. Not sure if Thanaway will be able to claim the flush on that one, though.
Yeah, remember Pentagram already lost 1 member.
Exactly.
So they need to get the revive onto this one. Purple Mood is just making it even harder for both these teams that need to have good games. Get to the top 8, they are trying to drag them down with them. But Glaz with the rotate, Yuri and Leo, another opportunity to get some points. But Heaven is having the covering fire from that angle. And now Tosi is rolling up. Doesn't want to go too fast, doesn't want to give himself up. But Purple Mood, they're pushing on in to Pentagram.
Great shot coming in return from Thunders here. Whenever there's been some sort of success for Purple Moon, a lot of it has lied on the shoulders of Thunders, pushing forward. Fluky, though, there to assist as well. Finds the second as Pentagram now in trouble. Ada, solo player, left alive for the Korean team.
Has all to do, and it's not going to happen. In the blink of an eye, Pentagram are eliminated. Only 1 knock against Purple Moon, but they can easily get the revive. Does Exo Akita, who's swinging on in, or perhaps Ghibli or GEX, try and take advantage of the slightly wounded Purple Moon team? I don't imagine that'll be the case.
Nope.
The circle continues to center up towards the north in the field. Exo Clan are eliminated, and that is another point towards New Happy, and here comes GEX.
And just like that, 2 teams out of the tournament in both Pentagram and Exo. Solid performances for them, but not solid enough to make their way through to the grand finals.
GEX are dodging New Happy for now, but Petrichor Road, they might not have the best angles for it, but they're in the compound, and they might actually be crashed. No, the shot's coming out. GEX are going further. But where can GEX go? Are they going to try and go for the hills or perhaps even the compound? But Vox is already posting up. He is already showing that this has been claimed, that this has been taken. GEX stop here, but this is just a valley for 17 to shoot down.
It is, but the good thing for them is they are out of nade range from everyone. Whoever tries to make that run forward will get shut at by the surrounding teams, whether it be up towards the north in the forest or to the west on the hills. So for now, GEX, this is a last resort sort of position to play from.
Ghibli now pushing into Purple Mood. Fluky again going big for his team. They're getting the points, getting the kills. I don't know if it's going to be possible for Purple Mood to try and qualify off of this round, but they are giving it the best effort that they can. Tosi rushing up with the frag grenade, but the shots are already coming out. Doesn't actually take too much damage and has an opportunity to hide behind a tree.
And you hate to see a team like Purple Mood, who are so good at fighting these fights, play so worried, I would use it like a better word, in the remainder of the tournament. Because had they just played with this playstyle with little to nothing to lose and just dared to go aggressive earlier, they maybe would have made their way through to the grand finals. But as you're saying, even with a couple of kills coming through here, is probably not going to be enough to get them through, especially now with Thunders down.
And the grenade, Tosi had cooked really well. Fluky was just barely able to dodge that. Tosi's pushing ever forward. A hole was given, a gap was given by Purple Moon, and well, Tosi is going to get punished for it. Didn't get the drop of Fluky that he was hoping for, and it is all on to Glaz to stay alive. Ghibli going to go down. Purple Moon with 7 kills. They lost Thunders, and Fluky is taking damage from the blue, but they are still able to play through this while we take another look at STK approaching New Happy.
Vegas has made his way up towards the hillside above alongside ALO, so they have the overtop positioning, the better vision, and New Happy are not inside the circle yet either. They have to leave, and I think for STK, they're realizing, you know what, we could stick around, we could try and go for it, but let's get the position inside the circle instead.
New Happy are leaving, but they're going towards the east. They're going to be running into Purple Moon. Where is their ending final destination? Old Blitz with yet another kill, so Third Eye are picking up the points. And then, of course, Flood. Oh, from the combat to the east side. It's a battle royale in the battle royale here on the south side. Purple Moon are eliminated, and points for New Happy. It's points for New Happy. They are at 50.
Trying to wreck their way further up this leaderboard. They still need a lot to make their way through. 17 points still to go for that tie with Ascent currently sat in 8th.
Where are we going to go? Where is the zone going to go? It's a hard shift to the east. And I mean, this means that For Third Eye, even if Oldless can't play in that position on the edge, can still play up with Vox, assuming he can get there. But there's going to be a lot of teams that have to come in from the west side, and I imagine a lot of them are going to be swinging in from the north, where Shoot to Kill is currently focused on.
The only somewhat decent thing in this situation is that the compound that Luminosity currently has control of is shifted out of as well, so you will be able to play the field. Issue now is Gen G up towards the north have a really good position. So if they don't get pushed by Twisted Minds, which I hope Twisted Minds will do, if there's just one team set in the forest, playing the field is practically impossible.
But none of those teams that you just listed are the teams that are fighting for 8th place. They don't need the points. It's Petrichor Road. It's New Happy. And I mean, I think Third Eye are pretty safe enough, but it's just mainly those two that really need to get the points. But 8th gets one onto Kurt. Shoot to Kill, they have the high ground, but they are on the hard side of the zone. They're going to need to move fast. Ayla was trying to deal the initial damage, but then, of course, Relo from the opposite side is still not going to let their NA brothers have it easy.
It's been a long time since we've had a last game of any stage really where no one, like no impactful changes on the leaderboard came in the final match. But this one might just go down as one of those where no changes were made from game number 11 to game number 12. Unless if New Happy or Petrichor or GX can pull off magic.
It's on now. It's on this maneuver for these teams to go out with a bang and not go out with the whip for the sense coming on in. Oldless with the grenade at the ready. It looks good! Oldless takes down 2 of New Happy. Does go down in the meantime, but that is damage done. Will it stick? Petrichor Road spots that, and they need to push in. Yes, just as you said.
They have to make the play here. They have to make the run on forward. Ixlift, MK14 in hand now, swapping over to the Nace. Xiaopian down towards low on the bleeding out, so he will go down. But you can see HSM want to go for the reses, but I think seeing him cross is only going to make it worse, and indeed it is. Xiaopian confirmed. HS falls as well. New Happy down to the hopes of Ming Ming, and those hopes are slim, close to none, and New Happy are going to fall as well.
Petrichor Road up to 58 points. They are 9 points away, 10 points away if they want to make it clean from replacing Ascend.
Twisted Minds just got a knock onto Petrichor Road. They now know which team it is, where they're set. I'm looking for them on the map. Are they going to try and seal this one on their own? They need to stop them now. If Petrichor gets warm, they can get scary.
17 just took out Sun Sister, and we're in placement points. They're going to start picking up further and further. Luminosity left the compound, as he said, taking the east side with a nice little spread. 17 forcing in towards the center, going to be crashing up against Vox. Only 1 point, only 1 kill for Third Eye. Can Vox get any more? It's not going to happen. Logo steals that. 17 Gaming with a single shack, and it's close to center. Will it remain there for long? Because we have the phase 6 shift about to happen. It's going to stay with them. It's going to be medium west and Petrichor Road.
Yep.
I guess they have some vehicles, but they're going to have to shoot through GEX, and then, of course, Twisted Minds and Gen G still on the north side, but X left. Not going out without a fight.
They need this, and they need more of it. You can see Mill, 2 smokes, I believe. Axis has none. And the worst thing for them is Twisted Minds can sit up here. They'll tank blue if they have to. That means that they can take out Petrichor. Churi now trying to make the run on forward. Does that nade allow him to get within nade distance? No. It's still going to fall short. Tries to go for the jump throw again. Second time around should bounce short as well. If he can get one well-placed nade here, that could potentially be all of GEX down. Issue is only so many smokes to work with, and they're running out as we speak.
Pierre got a knock on a reload. And so that could be, I guess, a little more space for Petrichor Road to try and push on through, especially with that confirm. But the problem is, these grenades are not landing where they need to. Nope. GEX is in a brutal spot to keep Petrichor Road out. And then, of course, Twisted Minds, they are staying on that north side.
They're waiting.
Beaming on in onto their drop rivals. Xleft has been making it work with this Mark 14, already 4 kills, but he's going to have to continue to put in the work. It's going to be a grind here on out.
Petrichor could not get a worse shift here. The entire circle is sat there looking at their shack, knowing they're the first ones to make a move, and I don't believe they have any more smokes left to work with. One is blooming, no vehicles left with tires on that is going to allow for them to rev on forward, and here comes Twisted Minds. Are they going forward? Are they trying to take matters into their own hands? No, they stop short.
They need to get into the zone. They're at least playing for the win here. And
fire.
Off of that opportunity, off of that timing, Petrichor Road trying to push on in, but GEX have the angle. It's only Chewy left for Petrichor Road. Is going to have to come up with a miracle down to 10 HP, dodging and weaving, and the grenade is going to be it. Kickstart Luminosity. closing the door before Petrichor Road. We have our top 8 confirmed.
Something absolutely miraculous would have to happen for GEX to be able to claim the spot. They need 16 more points with just 17 players left alive. Now, don't count out placement points. There is still a world where this happens, but GEX would have to start it now, and they would have to farm practically what is remaining of the server.
Well, they're aiming up toward Twisted Minds, so it's certainly a start at it. They have Twisted Minds on the ropes. The question is, will these kills get stolen by Gen G? Yuri's going to confirm at least one of them. Trying to confirm the second. You can tell that they know how important every single point will be.
They need to do everything they possibly can here. 3 alive, 3 smokes to work with for Yuri. No helmet, though. These guys have been knocked time and time and time again. And every time they see a kill confirmed in the kill feed that isn't theirs, that is a chance of them qualifying, slipping away. Petulance sat tight on the edge, solo player left on his feet, trying to make the run for it for Spiro, but caught in the smoke, now running further, should fall down, and indeed he does. Xiao Wu able to take him down. Twisted Minds out, 4 teams left alive.
That's 9 kills available for GEX, and then 10 points for the win if they can get it. So they won't need every single one of those, but they will need the vast majority of them. It will basically be a win for them to qualify in this circle shift. Oh man, that's it's gonna make it even harder because Gen G have not had to leave this high ground.
They have been chilling in the forest for the better part of the last 20 minutes. And we did it to Petrichor before, we do it to GEX now. Everyone is looking at GEX. They all know they are the one team that has to make a move here.
Kickstart and Flood. The only real direction they can look is towards GEX, but GEX is going the opposite direction. They're going to try and swing and backfill with Twisted Minds, where Yuri goes down, Savior in the vehicle, and then Leo left behind as the anchor. But Savior finds the few vehicles remaining. Yuri gets confirmed. And Savior needs to keep 17 pinned down to allow Leo to break in, but even this position that Savior is at is not in the zone.
Exactly. He's trying to play the support, the off-angle position to try and suppress, but Leo forced to go the opposite direction, saying it's a solo game now. Xiaobei once again, the butcher of the dreams for qualification for grand finals for GEX as it takes him down. Here comes Gen G though, full speed forward they go. They know that they have Luminosity on the other side. Who comes out victorious here?
Grenade out, kickstart spraying with the M16. GEX do go down. They are out in 11th place, but who is going to win this final round of losers? 17 still claiming up the points, claiming up the kills, as you can see in the kill feed. And they are pushing on out because they want to make sure they can get as much as possible. It is only Flood remaining for Luminosity and has to run away from grenades, cannot go for the revive.
It's all a battle for pride at this point, but for 17, they are very happy. For Sonics, though, waiting for them in the grand finals, are we about to see Pochinki Picardo be hot dropped again with 17 potentially winning this one, coming in with a lot of momentum going into these grand finals. Flood, nice shots connected onto Sushu.
This is a great knock, but I don't think it's going to give him the opening to go for the revive. In fact, he's still getting peppered by Pio there on the high ground.
Well, it's going to quiet down for just a moment. Pio down to his last 8 bullets. Again, a matter of pride at this point, but of course, they all want to best one another. They all want to come in to the grand finals knowing they were superior to the opposition in the qualifiers.
Last circle, last shift. It's going to be a medium shift towards the southwest. So 17 Gaming, they can continue to play out of this spot. That shack that they're in is just barely inside the zone, while Flood is just staring down the 2 low ground players from Gen G. He knows that he can't move from this spot without getting torn to shreds. He needs Pio to move, and while 17 are shooting in that direction, the rest of Gen G are crawling towards the zone, and Flood might not spot them.
I shouldn't hear them either. I don't think he has any utility to work with. So even if it did, the peak 1v2 is going to be hard. But with the angle that Gen G are currently coming up in, I think they would have to at least crouch to see him, and that could potentially allow for 17 to spot him down on the other side. The good thing for them is they have Pio set above, so as soon as Flood peaks that angle, Pio better hit those shots.
Taemin already has his backpack dropped. DG98 for some reason, so wants to keep his crawling against Taemin and perhaps suspects DG98. But it's actually going to be Pio, of course, with the final kill onto Luminosity. Actually gotten all 4 of those from the past 5 minutes, however long that fight took. And now it is Gen G versus 17. 5 kills for Pio. Gen G woke up today and remembered how to play the game, and they are going to try and win a second map.
They sure did. Nate's now getting over real close to Lil Ghost here as he tries to stay put. Falls though, but PO down to, I believe, just 3 or 4 bullets. All the damage he's going to be able to do from here on out is going to be with Nate. But look at Xiaobei! 4 bullets, 3 bullets, 2. They're going to be pan fighting in the middle of this if they don't start conserving ammo.
And the longer PO can stay alive, the more time he's giving DG98 to try and sneak up and get those last few bullets of his own, however much he has remaining. PO peeking on out, but Xiaodidi going to spot DG98 with good points. Damage actually gets a knock into Xiaodidi. It's all into Xiaobei, 1 versus 2, and now PO has the opportunity to swing on in.
Xiaobei has 1 bullet. 1 bullet in his slot. The reason he's not peeking over, you can see now he's dropping ammo. Lil Ghost is crawling. The only reason he came here was to feed ammo across to Xiaobei to at least have a chance of potentially taking out Gen G in a 1v2.
Going for the revive, it looks like onto Little Ghost.
That is
DG98 can't quite get the angle, but look, PO is getting closer and closer. Grenade in hand, is getting in range, and actually is able to reload his own barrel for 1 more magazine, 1 more clip.
Yep. Let's see if the first aid comes through. Indeed, it does. That Nate on the feet of Xiaobei, and just like that now, Lil Ghost solo player left alive. Blue hurting a lot, and PO claims it in the end. You said Gen G woke up, they chose violence, and they managed to qualify through to the Grand Finals.
9 kills. This is just to tell us that win earlier today is not a fluke.
Yeah.
It was a slow start for Gen G, but they are going to be in the Grand Finals. And as long as you forget the first couple of stages, just looking at today, they look like another strong team.
It's a big W for Gen G as they come out with the last chicken dinner of the losers bracket. But the real story is the fight for the top 8. It has been solidified, Martin. We now know what the Grand Finals look like.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I am ecstatic for the Grand Final, but also sad to see some of these teams here. Obviously not. We're gonna have to send 8 teams on early vacation here to go around in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It's gonna be exciting for them, but still, they're gonna be super, super sad for what happened here today. There's some big surprises and some teams that had some rough performances that weren't able to make it through.
And we can get into that. We will continue to congratulate Gen G on their chicken dinner.
That was huge.
There was a shocking amount, and we saw that with sort of the way teams are playing spoilers. In fact, FaZe probably the first surprise for most people. They dropped north towards Zarki. They did everything they could to keep from getting caught. In fact, I saw Luminosity on their drop spot looking to maybe push them out of the Grand Final. FaZe just could not connect on that rotation.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Also, running into EXO at that point there and deciding to take the fight is obviously, maybe there are some 4 free points that be made, but they lost. And then there was a third party from Eris, Skipley, seeing from a distance there. There's some rough situations for them. So, yeah, huge upset for not having FaZe Clan in the Grand Final here of PGS1.
I think that's the danger of leaving things to the end, right? A team with the storied history, the player quality of FaZe, when teams see those knocks happen, they are going to come running from all over the place to try to keep FaZe out, because FaZe, no matter what state they're in when they get to a Grand Final, are dangerous.
For sure. They have the pop-up potential, right? And that's the one thing they want to deny. That's also why we saw Luminosity Gaming in a contest. We saw so many other teams come into a situation where, like, yeah, but FaZe Clan is a rough team to go against in the Grand Final. And if they have a fantastic day one, they could win the whole thing. So they want to deny that, of course. And also, if you're getting sub 20 points on a day, that is just not good enough. You're not going to get to Grand Finals with that unless you have like 75 points like we saw from Na'Vi.
A team that I wasn't even sure would make the Grand Final initially, but looks like they're going to be very rough in the Grand Final, was Gen G. These guys came out, they started a little bit slow, but they were on fire. As we go through these highlight reels, you're going to see them over and over again. PO was unstoppable in terms of how he played these matches. That's a team that has turned up, and I know they're going to be a big team when he gets to the finals.
It is just like showing here again. All right, guys, I'm back. I am the undisputed GOAT coming out of PUBG Korea, and I got to say, I've been amazed with how he's been playing today. There's some question marks going throughout the tournament, group stage for Winners bracket. Like you're looking at it and you're thinking, okay, what teams are we going to have some big situations from? But Gen G just came in here, and it's a very like PO classic coming in, just popping off on the last day and just dominating. We had some insane games from him. The 10-kill game from him, and they were like, okay, they're coming here to play today.
We also saw a really nice end game there by 17 and GEX. A little too late for GEX, but maybe some really good signs for future growth by that team. Look at that. You mentioned PO. 7 kills, 896 damage. PO has a G-shaped backpack right now.
That is enough enough space for all of them as well. I gotta say, Taman last game as well, he popped up with SLR, a lot of headshots coming in. And these guys are super experienced, of course. It has to be Pio again with another MVP situation from him here. It's been a good day for him. If you had your fantasy team, this is the first day he's actually performed points to price.
Right, points to price. That's the key right there. Now, other surprises that didn't quite make the cut, I think is going to catch some folks off guard. Petrichor really thought that they were going to show up at this event, and they are now on their way home.
They are going back to the hotel and chilling there until they're taking their flights at a different point. And also New Happy. We're coming in, and I gotta say I'm super surprised. Let's look at the team summary here though quickly. Twisted Minds have been dominating the lower bracket. A little bit of a surprise to see them in there, but now they don't have Petrichor Road contesting them in various locations. They're gonna have, I think, a quite good of a grand final showing. I'm really excited for them.
Yeah, I think the biggest hurt for me is New Happy going from their performance in group stages in the top 5 to not making that qualification. On the other side, as we look at the match leaderboard, there are going to be some teams showing up here that did make it, some teams that I think got people a little bit surprised. One of those was Third Eye, another Ascend. Both of these teams came out. They played a very strong, consistent game through the losers bracket and have secured their positions in the grand final.
I honestly really like what I saw from Third Eye today. They were impressive in a way where you're not expecting them to perform on the last day here, so they're able to pop off. And let's take a look at the overall leaderboard here.
Overall leaderboard, the top 8 teams advance to your grand final. There's the cutoff. FaZe in 9th at 60 is eliminated along with the entire right side of the leaderboard. Ascend, Third Eye, STK, 17, Gen G, Luminosity, Ghibli, and Twisted Minds will advance to the grand final, play for the PGC points as well as that $80,000 first prize. PGS points is going to be very important for them going forward. So let's take a look at those teams specifically that get to move on.
Nice.
And I will say again, Third Eye, Ascend, these are 2 teams that I think surprised a lot of folks. Ascend, I think they just couldn't. It was their first time international. I think in the group stages, they were learning that these lobbies are very unforgiving and play a little safer this time around.
Yeah, and a big congrats to you and the Americas.
Yeah.
They make it.
All 4 teams, our entire region, made it to the grand final. So pat on our back.
Yeah, beautiful for them to come in here. And the wake-up call that Luminosity game they had here. And look, this is the grand finals teams, and this is going to be a very stacked.
It is deeply stacked, and what I love about the format of this event is while some of our favorites didn't make that cutoff, they had every chance they had to. So when we look at this, we can say every team has earned their spot. No one lucked into that position. They had to earn it start to finish.
I gotta say, 17 Gaming, we were saying if you don't make it with Picard of Chingy, that's gonna be a disaster. But they were able to do it, and they're gonna be playing in the grand final starting
with Miramar. When we get back, it's going to be the grand finals, all me on the first day of play, but it's going to be all about them. The top 16 teams in the world taking the field for 3 days of blistering play. And if this last week of play has been any indication, it is going to be incredibly back and forth. I don't know who comes out on top. We've got incredible teams going in there.
I've honestly, we've seen so many surprises in the group stage, in the winners bracket here as well, and losers, so it's going to be incredibly stacked. And also, it's going to be, of course, 3 days of festivities. It's going to have 18 matches. It's going to be a little bit more than we've been seeing in the losers bracket and in the initial stages for this, so it's going to be a true champion coming out of the top.
Very much so. They have a day off tomorrow for the teams to try to get their feet under them, plan their drops, come up with their strategies, and then we're back the day after that for a weekend of blistering PUBG. I'm not going to ask you for a prediction who wins because I know that it is so wide open. We're going to have to get down to like watching what they eat for breakfast to try to figure out who has the edge going into the grand finals.
We're going to have to, we're going to looking at like some interviews obviously to see who's going to be going into having some really good performances. Also for our fantasy teams, of course, we're going to be extremely close, you and I. We've been kind of taking over each other back and forth. So yeah, honestly, I've had so much fun with the fantasy teams going into this event here. And obviously, when you have these stages, you have group stage, you have your double eliminations with your winners and your losers. And now it is the last chance, of course. We have 3 days of grand finals. They're going to be super, super exciting. Both for the teams, the PGS points, there's 4 teams that are going to be going directly to PGC with the PGS points. And you get 200 from winning this one here, right? So it's almost a guaranteed ticket to PGC if you win this event.
Right. So a lot of folks, you look at that prize pool, like, that's $80,000. It's nice.
Exactly.
But it's that qualification to get your chance to punch the ticket to the biggest show ever. That is it for us here at the desk. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you again for the grand final from myself, Martin, and the rest of the team. Thanks, but let's check in with Bella one more time to chat with some of the players.
Hello, this is Bella, and welcome back to the main stage here at PGS1. That was it for the losers bracket, and we have finally finalized the 8 teams that made it to the grand finals. So, without further ado, let's meet the players and let them talk for themselves. First up, we're gonna have Ghibli's Kyumin join us on the stage. Please welcome Kyumin. Congrats on finishing second on the last day of the losers bracket. How does it feel to know when you realize that you made it to the grand finals for sure? 이제 패자 브라켓에서 그랜드 파이널 진출이 이제 확정이 되셨잖아요. 지금 소감 한마디 부탁드립니다.
일단은 저번에 그룹 스테이지 할 때도 저희 운영적인 부분에서 문제가 없다고 생각해서 저희가 실수만 하지 않으면 충분히 올라갈 수 있을 거라고 생각을 했고, 그래서 1일차 끝나고도 자신감 있는 상태였는데 그래도 좋은 성적으로 마무리하게 돼서 기분 좋습니다.
They're very content with the result they came with today because they were pretty sure and confident that they would make it into the grand finals because of the games we saw yesterday. So, you know, his team's very excited and happy with the results today. So the Ghibli we saw on group stage and the Ghibli we saw during the losers bracket, they were very different. What changed for you? 이제 우리가 그룹 스테이지 때 봤던 기블리랑 패자 브라켓에서 봤던 기블리랑 좀 분위기가 완전 딴판이었어요. 대체 뭘 어떻게 다르게 그 이틀 동안 무슨 일이 있었던 건가요?
일단 개인적으로 운영적인 부분에서는 문제가 없었다고 생각을 했고, 약간 개개인의 실수들과 팀원들 간의 소통 그리고 교전에서의 약간 좀 디테일이 부족해서 그룹 스테이지엔 결과가 잘 안 좋았던 것 같고, 그 이틀 사이에 운영적인 부분을 피드백하기보다는 그 나머지 팀원들 간의 소통이나 교전에서의 디테일을 많이 조금 힘썼던 것 같아요, 피드백하려고.
So during the group stages, Ghibli didn't feel very confident with their teamwork, communication, and the little details during their play, so they focused and made it happen through the losers bracket. So you have a day off before the grand finals. How are you planning to spend your evening? 그랜드 파이널까지 이제 하루 쉬는 날이 있는데 그 휴일 어떻게 보내실 건가요?
일단 마지막 라운드에 저희가 밀타 랜드마크를 가고 싶어서 페이즈 클랜을 살짝 저격했는데 일단 저희 랜드마크를 지키는 거에 일단 내일 좀 다른 랜드마크를 보면서 랜드마크를 정리하고 그다음에 조금 일단은 쉬고 싶습니다.
First of all, they want to have a rest, but they're going to, spend their day off planning and preparing for their landmark. Okay. 오늘 너무 수고하셨습니다. 감사합니다. That was Kyumin from Ghibli for the first interview, and now we're gonna have Mika from Ascend join us on the stage for the second interview. Please welcome Mika. Hello, Mika.
Hello, Bella.
Okay. You made it into the top 8 at the last minute, saving your seat in the grand finals. How does it feel?
It honestly feels amazing. Like, it was really nerve-wracking today. We were really struggling today to get our points done. And what can I say? Like, we're already nervous at the end, but we got our stuff together in the last games, and we just showed our performance and got into the final.
It just happened. Congratulations, man. Okay, how does it feel to be the first DACH group to make it into the grand finals on PUBG's Global Series?
I think I can speak for all of us if I say that it feels really amazing. Being the only German team here and performing and getting to finals feels just overwhelming pretty much. So yeah, it's really nice.
Then, we should have a thank you to your fans.
Can I do the thank you in German?
Of course. Fire away.
An alle deutschen Fans, Leute, vielen lieben Dank für die Chat-Spams, für den Support, alles, was ihr gemacht habt für uns. Ich glaube, wir haben die größte Fanbase von allen und es ist so krass, dass wir so viele Leute von uns hier haben und immer diese Energie von euch bekommen. Und deswegen vielen lieben Dank an alle Leute und einfach nur Liebe und Kuss an euch.
We should have a go for the English-speaking fans too. Yeah.
For the English-speaking people, thank you so much for the support. I see all the chat, emotes, spamming, and it gives so much energy to us, seeing that even if we fail, there's so much support. And we love you all. Thanks for the support, guys, and let's go, rise up.
All right. Good luck to you for the grand finals. Good game today.
Thank you, Bella.
Okay. We'll see more of you at the grand finals. Okay.
Let's go. Tschüss.
Tschüss, Mika. Bye-bye. And that is a wrap on the losers bracket. We're going to be seeing more intense PUBG action for the grand finals, which start on May 5th, 6th, and 7th, but same time. So we'll see you then, and I'll miss you guys. Bye-bye. See you on the 5th.